afternoon. I almost said good morning. I will learn. Good afternoon. Happy Sunday. Glad that you are here. Glad that I'm here. Glad that Sunday is here. Everything's working exactly as it should be, I think. Um, I'm excited about talking to you today. I really am. I've been looking forward to this since Wednesday. Those of you who may be with us for the first time might not know that we are on Sundays at noon as well as Wednesdays at 7 p.m. in this same spot, which I would tell you what it is, but I don't remember. Oh, it's not anywhere up there. Okay, well, we'll get it to you. Good middle of time, buddy. That's a good way to put it. Yeah, it's the middle of the day. It's the start of a new week. How's it been going for you? How is everybody? How are you feeling? How's your spirit? All that stuff. What would you like support with prayer in? Happy to do that always, always, always. And fill me in on what's going on in your life and what you hope to have going on in your life. That's always a good thing. Let me know what you are praying for so that I can support you in that, because I love to do that. And it's good for all of us. Good for me to pray, good for you to be prayed for, with, all that. It serves us all. Prayer never hurts, no matter where it's coming from. And let's see. I'm actually probably a little low energy today. If you feel that, um, I'm sorry. Forgive me for that. It's been a long weekend, and I know it's only Sunday at noon. But I did a wedding in Paso Robles yesterday, and that's a 3-hour drive. And drove up, met a friend that I haven't seen in well over a year, and had lunch, and then went to the venue and did the wedding, which was beautiful, just beautiful. One of the sweetest couples ever, just gorgeous people. A friend had said to her a few years ago, you need to go back and redate him and marry him and have beautiful children. And so the first two steps are taken care of, and I know the third one will, because they're both just beautiful, beautiful people. So I'm looking forward to keeping track of that family. But then there was the 3-hour drive back home, and I learned something about my car. It can read my mind. I didn't know it could read my mind, but it can read my mind, because all of a sudden on the dashboard there was a thing that said, driver attention low, take a break. And I went, how do you know? How do you know? And I decided I wasn't going to let the car tell me what to do, so I stiffened up and drove a little farther. I actually had a goal in mind. I knew where I wanted to go to take a break, and I was going to do that, but I wasn't there yet. And I was kind of like out in the middle of nowhere where taking a break just didn't make any sense. So I kept going. And the car, in brighter letters, said, driver attention low, take a break, in brighter colors. I was floored. I've never seen that before. I didn't know it was something the car could do. I'm a little spooked by it, but there it was. And it confirmed my decision that I needed to take a break anyway, and by then I was only a couple of miles away from where I was going, so I obeyed. I'm very trainable. I really am. You may not know that about me, but I tend to follow instructions pretty well. So, Heidi, what's going on here? Oh, she's sending me a spiritual energy fluff. I love that. Thank you. Much appreciated. Huh, feeling better already. Sound went quiet again. Oops. Well, wait a minute. I might be able to help that. I forgot to do something. Hang on. Loud noise.
Where's your microphone?
Where's my microphone? Well, that's a good thing. I don't have the microphone out. Thank you. I'm not too tired today. Okay. See, I look at the board, and the board tells me that my microphone's there and that we're connected, but it doesn't necessarily tell me that it's nowhere near me. So that should help. Thank you for catching that, technical department.
Certainly. I can't quite get over to you because
No, we have a recuperating cat. He had a little thing taken off the top of his head yesterday, and he's a little rummy, which is very cute. And it's not Spirit; it's Socrates, the old wise, gorgeous cat. So he's in here, in the office, supervising things and napping. But we've got him set up right between our two desks, so getting from here to there can be pretty precarious. But it's all right. So Heidi, I'm sorry. That's my fault. Probably not yours. And we should be fine now, I think. My bad. And I apologize for that. Like I say, I checked the dashboard on the computer and it said the microphone was there and it's on, which it was. Um, but I didn't look to make sure it was actually like in front of me. It is now, and the sound is turned up, so you shouldn't have any trouble. Okay, now, yeah, well, I would think so. Sorry about that. My bad. My fault. Not your computer's. Your computer's probably being perfectly good and going, wait a minute, she did it. Or she didn't do it, as the case may be. So, excuse me, I have a very dry throat today. Probably the result of driving in a car that's smarter than I am. And then, in the low energy department, I had purchased online one of those foam wedges that you can sleep on because I sleep better if I'm on an angle, and a pillow to support my neck because if I just pile regular pillows up, I end up with a sore neck. So they arrived yesterday while I was gone, and I very excitedly unpacked them and took them upstairs and planned on sleeping on them. And the wedge is way too high for me. I feel like I'm sitting up straight. And the neck pillow on the wedge didn't work at all because then I was even higher. Um, so now I have a stiff neck and I didn't sleep that well. So bear with me. God, she's complaining a lot this morning. I don't mean to be.
You're lucky to be even on the air.
I'm lucky to be on the air. Well, I'm here. I'm all right. I'm happy. I've got Heidi. I'm a happy camper. Let's see. Yeah, it does help to remember the microphone, though, and I do apologize for that. That's my fault. Thank you, Heidi says, no worries, bless her heart.
Your computer needs one of those things, a little to read out low energy, like your car does.
Driver attention low.
Yeah,
Get some coffee. Yeah, well, it may very well be that, Heidi. Jen and Kirk both let me know that they will not be with us today, so I know that much is happening. And I don't know if other people are late, but, here we are. We're good. I always love talking with you. It makes me happy. And I have a fun thing to talk about today. Well, a fun thing to talk. Yeah, it's kind of a fun thing to talk about. I want to talk to you about fear and fearlessness. Does that work for you? Let me know. Let me know. Oscars this afternoon. We will collectively, we in the technical department, we'll be missing out on our family Zoom meeting today because Oscars are high holy days. And we've already told the kids they'll have to go on without us because we don't miss the Oscars. And unfortunately, our family meeting is at the same time as the Oscars start. So, and you don't want to miss the opening. I know I could tape it. I know. I will, as a matter of fact. We tape it anyway.
Not the same.
Not the same. It's sort of fun knowing that you're watching it live and that if somebody trips, you're going to see them do it. That sort of thing. I know. When I'm tired, my mind just goes strange places. Okay, hold on. I'm reading your thing. Oh, Lordy. Oh, please tell Kathy I'm going to be praying for her and for the doggies. This sounds like our last year. We lost 4 last year? Pets?
Wow.
I'm trying to think if it was 4 or 5.
5 if you include Mandy.
Well, you kind of have to include Mandy just because she was at the other end of the year.
Yeah, well, Merlin was this year, but...
Yeah, so 5 if you include Merlin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spirit.
One doggie that just still breaks my heart to think about. And 4 cats last year. So please tell Kathy I understand and my heart is with her. Oh, goodness. And our prayers, of course. I agree with you. The opening of the Oscars is a hit or miss these days, you know. And who knows what they're going to do this year? I don't remember the number, but the number of people that they can actually hold at the venue is significantly smaller.
170.
170. I was thinking 140, so thank you. 170 people. So I'm thinking you aren't even invited unless you won. Sorry you were nominated. Sorry you can't come. You know. But some of those groups that when they get to like Best Pictures, there's 170 people right there. So it'll be interesting to see how they broke that down and what the decisions were. Yeah, it's nice that they're doing something. I agree with you, Kag. And we're going to watch it. Because we do. Because we're diehards. We've actually seen quite a few of the movies this year.
Yeah.
When you stay home, you've got nothing else to do. So we watched movies we would otherwise never have watched. I know. And we're surprised by some of them. That they were as good as they were. Minari. Several of them.
Yeah.
That were really outstandingly good. And then a couple that the critics and apparently the Academy thought were very good that we didn't necessarily, but we won't go into that. We don't need to name them. There were just a few that we didn't watch all the way through. And we never do that. We always stick it out. But every once in a while you kind of go, no. Yeah. Well, at least Union Station is a beautiful venue. I'm going to assume they're going to put tables up or they're going to have those 170 people standing in line. I don't know. We'll watch and find out. We'll watch and find out. So, let me get on to what it was I was going to talk about. Yeah, CAC's concerned about the arriving passengers and departing passengers and how they're going to get to their trains. Maybe that's part of the 170. I don't know.
All aboard, San Diego, train 462, platform E. All aboard?
All aboard. There you go. See?
Just over the
Easy.
over the loudspeaker.
Easy.
Gonna
Yeah.
Be great. Gonna be
Yeah.
great.
Are the trains still?
Yeah, the Surfliner.
Heidi wants me to name one we didn't like.
Oh yeah. One Night in Miami.
Yeah. And we have friends who thought it was fabulous. So what do we know? We just felt like it was bad acting and bad directing and bad script and a great story. We were looking forward to watching that one. And we thought the story was potentially wonderful and that it was all over and underdone at the same time.
Well, it was a stage play that stayed a stage play and it didn't get cinematic.
Yeah. Okay. Director, producer. She would know. I just found that it wasn't working for me. Ah, there's Brenda. Hi, darling. It's all right. You're not late. I haven't even started my... We've been discussing the Oscars. And my car that I found can read my mind, which is kind of scary. And Heidi's friend Kathy, who is having pet challenges. Boy, that's putting it mildly, isn't it? Anyway, Heidi, please, please, please tell Kathy that that I'll be praying and that boy, my heart just goes out to her. We've been there, and I wouldn't wish that on anybody.
No.
Heidi found the movie tedious. Tedious works. Tedious works for me.
Yeah.
We just couldn't sit through the whole thing.
Yeah, I think that's right because it wasn't cinematic. They were just filming a stage play.
Yeah. Yeah, and five guys sitting in a hotel room may work on the stage, but it
Of course
didn't
it worked on
didn't
the
work
stage.
on the screen. Okay, so you're welcome, Heidi. You know I like to keep you happy. All right, so let me get on with what I was going to talk about, especially now that Brenda's here too. Hi, darling. Jennifer and Kirk are not. So Brenda knows too. Jennifer and Kirk are not going to be with us today. They're stealing some time away with their grandkids. So that's an excused absence. She sounded just thrilled. So let me begin. Okay? Now, most of you already know, if you've listened to me for any length of time, you already know that I subscribe to Seth Godin's blog. I just happen to think the man is a genius, and I like keeping that kind of company. Godin, if you don't know, is the author of more than a dozen books, one of which I was introduced to by a church member, actually, many years ago, called Unleashing the Idea Virus, and I just think that it is off the charts brilliant. Anyway, some time ago I opened my email and found a blog of his called Millions of Words and Only 6 Emotions, in which he says the intellectual part of the human mind can spin delightful or frightening stories, can compare features and benefits, can create narratives that compel us to take action. Gee, kind of like my car, huh? Anyway, he goes on. All of these words are merely costumes for the 6 emotions that are built deep in our primordial soup. They are anger, disgust, fear, happiness, sadness, and surprise. Really, I thought. That got my attention. And I figured I was experiencing the emotion of surprise. But my first question, once I got past my surprise, was, who knew? And then my second question was, who decided that? So to deal with the first question, I, of course, went and did some research because it's what I like to do when I have a question in my head. Bottom line, way too many lists, too many opinions on the subject. I decided that Seth had decided for the purpose of his blog, and that was good enough for me. The final question then was, so what can I do with this information? I decided that what I could do was talk to you about our emotions. Because in my opinion, be that as it may, most of us are all too often at the effect of them. So today, I'd like to talk to you about fear, which seems to be the most attention-grabbing of the rest of the emotions. I'm gonna bet that very few, if any, of the people in this room ever watched it. But Fear Factor was a reality-style game show that was on the air from 2001 to 2006. When it was mercifully canceled, then it was briefly revived again in 2011, only to be canceled again in 2012, not surprisingly. At the time, we lived in Hollywood around the corner from Universal Studios when the original show was on the air. And for reasons I will never understand, Universal decided to create a Fear Factor attraction. Well, I do kind of understand it, but I still don't get it. So they put up a huge billboard on the corner of Cahuenga West and Barham Boulevard, which we had to pass nearly every day. And the billboard read, "Face your fears." And it had this really bizarre picture of a man with a scorpion on his face looking very fearful. Well, yeah, I don't know too many people who haven't had a frontal lobotomy, perhaps, or who don't have $1 million cash prize dangling in front of that creepy thing on their face, who couldn't just feel a little bit fearful with an arachnid diving into their temples. I'm not sure why all this came back to me as I read Seth's blog, but it did. Maybe because it was a really unusually large arachnid, or maybe because an arachnid crossed my path at one point. Maybe because I have some fears about a friend who is having some pretty serious health issues. Or maybe because I'm fearful about the fate of the squirrel that showed up in our backyard looking to be on the very edge of living. Or maybe because I've been watching the news and so many people seem to be in fear of so many things. Anyway, I decided today to talk about fearlessness. Fearless spiritual living, to be exact. And the more I look into it, the more I realize how much the emotion of fear impacts every level of our lives. On one level, fear is about little things. It makes us act like helpless little insects in the presence of reasonably helpless little insects. On another level, fear is about things. It keeps us bolted to where we are and what we've got, for fear there is no anything out there in the great somewhere. On another level, fear is about big things and ideas. It causes sleepless nights and unsettling days, and we grapple with our consciousness about what is right or feels right, or what we have the right to do or to have or to be. And on yet another level, fear is about the unknown or unknowable. What are they going to do? Whether the they are terrorists or the guy driving erratically in the car in front of us, or the jury of a major trial, or, of course, there's the fear about what the world is coming to. We've all got that one off and on, don't we? Based on my totally non-scientific survey and research, I think there are two kinds of fear. Perhaps there are more, but I've got it down to two. Sensible fear, our built-in early warning system, the fear that simply gets our attention and sends out an alarm that says, danger here, pay attention. Don't step off that cliff without a parachute. Don't run into that burning building. Don't watch this TV show if you value your sanity. That kind of fear. And then there is insensible fear. Fear based on lack of information or personal mythology, which may or may not be at all accurate. I think we must learn to separate the two kinds of fear, and I believe we can learn how. Regardless of how many kinds of fear there may be, it appears that there are three ways that we can deal with it. Foolishness, greater fear, or courage. Foolishness, in my humble opinion, is doing something which is life-threatening or which endangers others, just so that you can say you've done the thing. Now, what is dangerous is absolutely up to individual interpretation. So I'm not going to go into this one too much, except to say that I do not personally understand why anyone would choose to jump out of a perfectly good airplane. I consider fear of falling a sensible fear, and it's one of the basic fears we're told that even babies have. Of course, we're also told that fear of public speaking is one of the greatest human fears, and I don't understand that one at all. That seems insensible to me, which just goes on to prove that, in fact, a lot of this is very subjective. You can't die of public speaking, however. No limbs are in danger, and short of boring other people to death, no one else is really ever endangered. Yet I've met enough people who have the fear that I certainly can't discount it. nor would I choose to make anyone else wrong for having it. I just don't seem to. But then there are people who jump out of airplanes, and I wouldn't do that. Hold that thought for a minute, would you? I'll get back to it. Another way of dealing with fear appears to be the assumption of more fear, greater fear. Oh my God, if this is an act of aggression, if this erratic behavior, if this unknown enemy is to be feared, if I can't seem to do anything about it, then I go into even greater fear. The fear of hopelessness, the fear of victimization, the fear of the prey, as in preyed upon. And out of that fear, I create what? More fear, more fearful thoughts, fearful decisions, fearful behavior, fearful actions, which create more to be fearful about. Ultimately, I create a fear-based life in which nothing is ever really handled, nothing is ever really gained, except by the accepted enemy, real or imagined. And fear wins. Now, let me go back for a moment. Whether our fears are sensible to us or to anyone else is not the important thing. No one else can really judge the validity of our fear. We have our own history with it. No one knows our story. No one else knows about the arachnid that ate your favorite Aunt Tilly, or what you went through to get where you are, or the car crash that took someone you love. Nobody knows those stories. So no one else gets to decide whether or not you are being reasonable or sensible in your fear. No one else gets to decide. That's not the point. Fears are personal. But justifiable or not, fear still impacts our lives. And we all, for the sake of our souls, need to learn to deal with our fears or surrender to silliness, which is not fatal, gratefully, or sleeplessness, which is mostly just exhausting, and the terror of being a victim or having no peace. Amelia Earhart once said that courage is the price that life exacts for granting peace. The soul that knows it not knows no release from little things, or big things either. The antidote to fear is courage. Courage, from the French, to have heart. It is the willingness to go beyond our emotional reaction to something and to incorporate both head and heart at the highest level. Ultimately, courage is to incorporate wisdom and intelligence with intuitive feelings and guidance, which then moves us from a place of fear to a place of higher action, moves us from victim to victor, from fearless, from fearful to fearless, and sometimes simply from ignorant to informed. It can begin with something as simple as getting the right information. If you don't have that, then you can't make a decent decision. So there you are, minding your own business at the gas station, filling up your gas tank, when your cell phone rings. Oh my God. Should you answer it? You've heard somewhere that you shouldn't use your cell phone near gas stations because they can produce small sparks that can ignite big fires. And then suddenly you notice, maybe for the first time, that there are signs posted that tell you not to use your cell phone. But the call might be really important. But if you pick up the call, will you blow up the world? Or at least your little piece of it? The Discovery Channel has a show called Mythbusters, or at least used to, that featured two nerdy-looking guys, Adam and Jamie, whose job, according to Discovery, is to separate us from our myths. That's no small task, separating truth from mythology. But we are told Mythbusters are here to serve. Each week, Adam and Jamie took on a new myth and used modern day science to show what is real and what is fiction. They did more than explain how something may or may not be scientifically possible. They actually demonstrated it, which I kind of loved watching. You could watch them attempt to ignite a fire with a cell phone, or explode a porta potty with a cigarette. The shows used to all be online at discovery.com. I suspect they may still be, with hopefully more new stuff to come. It was a good show. So, the blurb at discovery.com said that Jamie and Adam are open to your ideas, and I had an idea for them. I did. How about exploding the way too popular myth that we're helpless? That we are separate from God, or that we are somehow at the effect of every zealot, nitwit, unattentive, thoughtless, there's an important word, and an apt description, thoughtless, at the effect of every thoughtless person and event that touches our lives. I wonder if they'd like to take on that challenge. I wonder. More importantly, are you willing to take on that challenge? Are you willing to separate truth from mythology in your life? It takes courage. It takes courage to find out what is real and what is fiction. It's not for the faint of heart. It's for those with hearts and minds of faith and courage. Here's a fact. I don't too often say this is for sure a fact, but I absolutely guarantee you that this is not the world we thought we were going to be living in. We grew up watching Fred Astaire and friends dancing in the streets. We sang about dancing in the streets. Last night's news was full of reports about shootings in the streets. When we were little, we jumped over cracks in the sidewalks. Today they are selling crack on the sidewalks. And it may not be you, but don't we all know someone who is literally sick from fear? Who is paralyzed in some way by fear? And to the extent that any one of us is enslaved by fear, we all are, or can be. I believe that the truth of today's world is that it is calling us to create a greater truth, to take a greater stand, to determine, each of us for ourselves, what we can do, and to do it. When we can tell and live a higher truth, we will come to know a greater peace of mind. And in this world, we have to go beyond the glass ceiling of our perceived limitation to the highest authority if we are to find the truth and live without fear. We are surrounded by potential power. But if we never step forward, if we never follow the urgings of our inner voice, if we never take heart, nothing will ever really change. George Conrad, the Hungarian writer and politician, talking about surviving as a writer in communist Hungary, said, "You take a number of small steps, which you believe are right, thinking maybe tomorrow somebody will treat this as a dangerous provocation. And then you wait. And if there's no reaction, you take another small step. Courage is only an accumulation of small steps." Life is challenging today. This is certainly not our Father's world. We can be threatened by that, or we can decide for ourselves that life, just as it is, right now, is calling each of us to take a small step, to awaken to our divine essence on every level of our lives, in relationships, in our work, in our families, in our communities, on our planet. We are being called, I believe, each of us in our own way, by those things that speak to our hearts, to take a step. Start with one small step from your truth, your essence, your heart, to make a move toward what you really came into this life to be and to do. The annoyances, the challenges, the inconveniences, the pains, the pests, they're all here to get your attention, to get you to honor your truth, to inspire or aggravate you into moving out of fear or complacency and into your divinity. Whatever your previous information or misinformation, fearless minds know this. At the truest level, we are not victims. We cannot be, because we are incarnations of the infinite. To be a victim is a choice. To rise above the fear is a greater choice. I'd like to encourage you to take a bold step this week, a fearless step into your own mind. Question what is there, particularly in the corner of your mind, that corner marked fear. Challenge those fears. Are they reasonable? Are they wise? Or are they paralyzing your life or spinning it out of control? Take heart. Take heart. Be courageous. To be courageous is to live large. It is to come out of the shadows. It is to stand up for something as special as you are. C.S. Lewis once wrote, "Courage is not simply one of the virtues, but the form of every virtue at the testing point," which means at the point of highest reality. Take a fearless step into your deepest truths and your highest wisdom. Look into your heart. Look into your spirit. Look into God within you. Every situation with which you are now faced is there to bring you to a higher level of spiritual growth. That's good news. Take heart. Life will continually, I know you don't necessarily want to hear this, but life will continually give you opportunities to grow. It doesn't stop as long as you're breathing. Those opportunities are going to keep showing up. All things are either growing or dying. Take the opportunities. We are not alone. We are not. We are with God. It just takes practice on our part to participate. Take the time to practice. Take the time to participate in the creation of your own life. God is where you are, wherever you are, whatever is going on. Take courage. Take a breath. Take time to remember the larger truth, that whatever challenges you may be going through, they're in your life to bless and to strengthen you. and to give you heart. The truth is that whatever challenges our world may be going through, they are in our world to help us review and remember. Remember that we are in our world to create and to recreate. God has not forgotten you. Trust me. If you have forgotten you, then now is the time to remember. You are so deeply rare and special. Every one of you. You are so necessary to life. Take heart. Be fearless. Have faith. Look into your fears and be not afraid. There is nothing you can learn from looking that will not be infinitely greater than living with the fears unawares. Have faith. Be confident. For so the Bible says, eye has not seen nor ear heard, nor the heart of man conceived what God has prepared for those who love and have faith. Eye has not seen nor ear heard, nor the heart of man conceived what God has prepared for those who love and have faith. And so it is. Many blessings, and fearless living to you. All right, what have you been chatting about over here while I was yapping? Oh, Heidi, if I introduce you to Seth Godin, I'm thrilled. Well, Heidi, I think, what's really true is there really is such a thing as brain fog. And we're in it more often than we think we are. Just because we live in sunny Southern California does not mean that there is not fog around us all the time. It's sometimes self-induced. So we learn. The thing about that kind of fog is that it sneaks up on you, I think, and then after a while you're kind of living in it and don't even recognize it as fog anymore. So the thing is, I think periodically to do a reality check. Am I really thinking clearly? Am I really? A little light should go off. Wonderful, wouldn't it, if we all had a built-in little light like the one in my car that says, owner's attention is low. Take a break. Wouldn't it be wonderful if something just periodically said to you, beep, 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 beep. Your attention level is very low. Take a break. Get away from this. Think more clearly. Get out where the sky is clear. Get out where you can think more clearly. I love that. I'm more in love with my car now than ever. I never knew it would do that. If we watch others face fear, does it make us stronger? Maybe. I would think maybe if I watched somebody face a fear that was a fear that I had, it might give me more courage. But stronger is going to come from within me, not from watching someone else. Stronger is my decision that if they can do it, I can do it. And then stepping forward. But if they're doing something that doesn't bother me, and I've been watching people jump off cliffs and do things like that forever, and I still don't like going to the edge of a cliff. You're welcome, Brenda. I think we get so used to our own lives. That's the brain fog thing. That we don't even see sometimes where we back off when it would be better to move forward, where we pull back when that's not what will serve us at the highest level. So looking is huge. It's huge. Oh, Brenda, you're such a sweetheart. Thank you. Reality check, Heidi says. Can I get a checklist and see if I'm seeing all the clues? Your life is your checklist. Write it down. What's working, what's not. I really believe that. I believe we are living right smack in the middle of our own personal greatest checklist. So, piece of paper, line down the middle. Doesn't have to be fancy. Hold on. Piece of paper, line down the middle. One side works. Other side doesn't work. What's working? In that area, you're seeing clearly and probably picking up on all the clues. On the stuff that doesn't work, what, first of all, what is it? First, recognize it. What's not working? Finances, romance, health, whatever your list is. And then go back again. And the work side you probably don't need to mess with right now. The doesn't work side, then you need another list. Doesn't take that long. Second list is, okay, it doesn't work. Why? Why? Is there something here I'm afraid of? Is there something here I'm ignoring? What would need to be done to change this? And do I have the courage to do it? And if I don't have the courage, what am I afraid of? What do I think will happen? I don't think it's terribly complicated. We just sometimes forget that our own lives are in fact our checklist. Aren't they, though? Aren't they, though? And we'll sit right in the middle of them and complain about what's not working without saying, wait a minute, if I am the power and the glory in my own life, if I am that, and if God is with me and all things are possible, then why isn't this area working? What am I not seeing? What would need to happen for that to change? And what would I need to do? And do I have the courage to do it? And if the first thing comes up, because, well, I don't know if I have the courage, what are you afraid of? What's going on in there? That if God's where you are, and with God all things are possible, what are you afraid of? Because there's something in there. There is something in there. And it may go way back, and it may go back to yesterday. But it's sure worth looking at, isn't it? Because it can change your life for the better. So, let's pray, shall we? Well, close your eyes if that's comfortable for you. If not, just soft focus. Do what's comfortable. And take a breath. Either a nice deep breath if that's what you feel like your body needs right now, or a nice easy breath. This is all about what works for you. And know with me that regardless of what is going on, regardless of how things look, regardless of how things feel, you are never alone. The power of creation is right there where you are, right now. In a forever eternal right now. And that is as true yesterday and today as it will be tomorrow. Right now, God is where you are. And so the power of creation, the power of redemption, the power of evolution is right there with you, within you, right now. And so I know for each of us that power overcomes our fears, that it dissipates the brain fog, that it clears our intention and our goals and our vision and our courage. And that we can see clearly now what we need to know and believe and accept and do to create our lives at the highest level. What joy is there in that? What excitement, what sense of freedom and possibility. I know for each of us right now that God is all there is. In us, as us, through us, surrounding us. No place where it is not. And I know for each of us today we step forward courageously, using our mighty, fearless minds to create the best life possible. And each life, each day, getting better and better in an evolutionary upward spiral that never ends. We are so blessed, so enabled by Spirit to do good, to be good, to create good. And so we do. And I know, too, that each of us has power in that which we claim for ourselves and for those we care about and for our world. And so I know that as we speak our words for those who have asked for prayer and those who would choose to have us pray, so too their lives are uplifted and enlightened and blessed. I know particularly that Kathy's mind is at ease, at rest. That her animals know they are loved and cared about. And that only the highest good can happen in and through each of them and for her. I know that Jennifer and Kirk have a fabulous day with their family and those they love, as we love them. I know that all of those who have lost people in recent days are comforted by the presence within them and the peace in their minds. And that their memories are simply those of love and of good and of joy, and not of sorrow and not of pain. I know that only the highest good is happening in this world, and things are unfolding in perfect time and form to reveal the unity of humankind. And I know that those prayer requests, spoken and unspoken, are heard by the power of creation, which knows only yes. And so, in deepest gratitude, I simply accept that all of that is true. That prayers are answered. That God is good. And that our lives are each lifted to a higher and better and more wonderful level. Peace, poise, power. And so it is. And so we let it be. Yeah, Heidi, you know, to a great extent, it's all about that unclogging process. Wonderful. Plant those seeds and nurture them. Nurture them. I love you all. We have a closing song. Inner Demons. We can sing along.
Yes.
Okay. I love you. Hopefully I will see you on Wednesday. Bring friends. Come on, the more the merrier. We can have a really good time. Bring friends. Or just send friends. That'll work. You don't have to bring them personally. I love you. I'll see you Wednesday. Have a great week. Bless you all.